think there will be another team in the history of the National Football League that will be able to achieve 4 straight Super Bowl appearances.
I don't think we belong where the Super Bowl champions belong, but I think we belong among some of the greatest teams that ever played. We're awesome.
The metamorphosis of a Jim Kelly from signing in 1983 with the Houston Gamblers and sort of looking differently than about the Buffalo Bills, then here you are today, 2007, 2008, its greatest cheerleader in retaining the Buffalo Bills here. How does that work? How does that?
I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this definitely wasn't the first place I wanted to make my home. That's for sure. Back well, about 25 years ago, I guess you should say, somewhere around there. But thank you. It's been full circle. I mean, so many things have happened to me in that time with my life, from marrying my wife from upstate New York to have my family here, and of course my son Hunter being laid to rest here in Western New York. And then really falling in love with the fans of Buffalo. The majority of my friends are from upstate New York, so I thought, why not? Why not spend as much time as I can here, and hopefully down the road, you never know, might be watching the Bills game from the booth as a part of it.
You watched, obviously, the Super Bowl. Curious as to who you were rooting for, given your long-standing relationship with Dan Marino, the fact that the Dolphins were kind of the Antichrist during a lot of your time period, and whether you wanted them to continue to be that only undefeated team.
To be honest with you, it's something I never have never cheered for a Miami Dolphins team up until this Super Bowl. And if you were to ask me this question about halfway through the season, I probably would be pulling for the Patriots. But the more Bill Belichick talked, the more it made me pull against him. And then you have Mercury Morris. The more he talked, the more I didn't want them to win. So it was like this here, back and forth. But Tom Brady is a very good friend of mine, Junior Seau, and some of the guys on that team. But I had a chance to meet Eli Manning this year. I've known Peyton forever. I've known Archie for a long time. And I always like to see good things happen to good people. And Eli Manning was a class act. He's a young kid, says the right things, has been through it all, being part of the New York Giants team. So I pulled for the New York Giants to win. Not only me, everyone in my family did too, because Bill Belichick almost got to the point where he almost, to me, at least from my standpoint, thought that he was so much better than everybody else. And I don't care about the Spygate part. That doesn't bother me. It's just a person in general. I liked, growing up, I liked basketball. I liked baseball, and we played it all. I grew up in a family of 6 boys, so we did it all. Whatever sport it was, we were in it. And as a matter of fact, one of the things I wanted to do, I enjoyed probably playing defense more than I played offense on a football team. And I did play basketball, but unfortunately we do not have a team anymore. After they retired my number from football, but just very shortly after that, the school closed down. So not only they took my jersey, they retired, and they gave it back to me. Say, here, we have no more school. So all the trophies now is at our bank now in our little hometown of East Brady. But I enjoyed playing basketball, but football was my love.
The College of Pennsylvania's Penn State, and Joe Paterno was not willing to give you a quarterback scholarship.
And again, to make a long story short, yes, I wanted to play football for Joe Paterno, but unfortunately he wanted me as a linebacker, and I decided no. And I went to Miami, and some of the best decisions, I've made some, at the time, probably decisions that people would have looked at me and said, why? But in my heart, when I make my mind up, I go full steam ahead. And there's a couple decisions I made didn't make my parents very happy. Number one was college. They wanted me to go to Notre Dame, being Irish Catholic. My grandparents wanted me to go to Notre Dame. But I went to Miami, I saw the palm trees and all the warm weather, and had steak for the first time in my life, and lobster, and I was like, where do I sign? And unfortunately, I didn't make my parents very happy, because they could not afford to go to any football games, but there was a coach by the name of Lou Saban was there. And but again, I went there, and thank God everything worked out for me. And there's a big, long story that goes with that too, but again, you don't have enough tape. And then, of course, the other decision I made to go to USFL instead of the NFL with the Buffalo Bills, another one my parents didn't want me to do, and I did the opposite. I'm not one of those kids. I listen to my parents. It just sounds like I don't, but I do. But I wanted to play in a dome stadium, and I didn't think Ralph Wilson was an owner that was ready to really build a winner there. And but he proved me wrong. Just a few short years after that, when the USFL folded, he guaranteed me he'd bring some help, and boy, did he ever. And here we are, you know, many years later, been to 4 Super Bowls, a bunch of championships, AFC championships, and a lot of Hall of Famers and a lot of great times.
So in Houston, you did this run and shoot offense then. I mean, was that really your idea, or was that
No.
your Davis's?
That was Miles Davis. No, run and shoot wasn't in my book. My feet weren't quick enough, but I worked very hard to make myself quicker, faster. I'll never be a 4.7 guy. But I broke the 4.85, which to me that's blazing speed, and I did it on AstroTurf with about a 5-10 mile an hour wind behind me. I'm serious. But I just love throwing the football, and it was almost a blessing for me because they told me, who do you want to play for? And they pretty much left it up to me to pick a team that I wanted to play for in the USFL. So I went and checked out Chicago. I checked out Tampa Bay at the time, Tampa Bay Bandits. And I said, why not play in Houston, Texas, a beautiful city, play in the Astrodome, no wind, no rain, quarterback's dream. So I went there and ran the run and shoot and threw for like 83 touchdowns in 2 years and 10,000 yards passing, and loved every day. Loved it.
The no-huddle offense that you really instituted in Buffalo, was how much was that a hard sell for your coaches?
Not very, very hard at all. As a matter of fact, it's just, I guess it came to a point where they knew that our offense was more explosive, run the no huddle. For me, I enjoyed it because I get to call my own plays. I knew where to put players. I knew where to line Andre Reed up. I knew what Thurman Thomas meant. I knew, you know, Don Beebe where he could line up at. And more for the other guys was the defensive linemen on the other side. They get tired very quickly. They started getting so exhausted that they couldn't rush the passer, and of course the offensive line loved that. When you can't, when you don't have guys rushing the passer, it makes their job a lot easier.
51-3 game, the Raiders. Is that the marquee game because it got you to your first Super Bowl? Is that the one that really stands out?
That stood out in my mind because, again, like you said, it's the first Super Bowl we ever played in. And also, growing up a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you know, the Raiders, when they battled the Steelers and Raiders, always played. And the Raiders were always considered the bad boys. And that was a game that everything we did worked, from a fumbled snap to a completion to a touchdown. I can go on and on. Howie Long yelling, telling us to slow the ball down. He's getting too tired. There's a lot of things to go with that. But more importantly than anything is going to our first Super Bowl.
3 rushing touchdowns.
Super Bowl.
It was time for the long-awaited, overdue celebration to commence.
Go pack your bag! Go pack your bag!
Yeah, baby! Woo! Goals to win, not just to go.
That's you talking.
We going to the show in Tampa!
Kind of edit your career tape.
Boy, I've been asking that question a lot, and really, I think I've come up with a few different answers. One was, it's a plus and a minus, having kids when I played so they can enjoy going into the locker room, and then glad I didn't have kids, because when you don't win the Super Bowl, having kids always saying, yeah, you didn't win. And you know, when I rewind it and I look at it, if there was anything I would change, there's not many things. Yeah, you would like to change the outcome of a couple of those Super Bowls, but that's just the way it is. That's what the good Lord gave me, and you got to be blessed with everything else that came with it. Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, and I know that's an old cliche, but the bottom line is it takes everybody. It's a team sport. One play can be the difference between winning and losing, which we found out, you know, several times over and over again. But the bottom line, I've been very blessed to have some great people around me, some great coaches and great players, and made a lot of friends. And now I found myself a home right here in Buffalo, New York.
Well, thank you and welcome. Terrific. Thank you, Jim.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.